Here's a question that might keep you up at night. What if the AI revolution everyone's celebrating is actually bankrupting companies and making humans fundamentally less capable? Right now, 85% of AI projects are failing spectacularly. Companies are spending 300 to 400% more than they budgeted, and an entire generation is losing the ability to think without artificial assistance. We're talking about $78 million training costs for single AI models, whilst students can't even start their homework without asking ChatGPT for help first. But here's what's really alarming. Leading AI researchers are warning we might have just 5 to 20 years before superhuman AI arrives, yet we're sleepwalking into dependencies that could cost us everything. Let me show you the hidden price tag that comes with our AI obsession. You've probably heard about ChatGPT's £20 monthly subscription or Midjourney's pricing tiers. But that's like focusing on the tip of an iceberg whilst ignoring the massive chunk of ice underneath that's about to sink your ship. Here's what companies are discovering the hard way. A modest AI cluster needs around a dozen NVIDIA H100 GPUs. The cost? Between $500,000 and a full £1,000,000 up front. And that's before you factor in the specialized cooling systems and maintenance teams needed to keep them running. But wait, it gets worse. When companies process their data for AI use, the resulting models become 5 to 10 times larger than the original data. So that 100 gigabyte database you've been working with? It suddenly needs 1 terabyte of specialized storage infrastructure. Cloud computing isn't the escape route you might think it is. Training even mid-sized AI models costs between £40,000 and £400,000 annually in compute costs alone. GPT-4's training bill hit an estimated $62 million, whilst Google's Gemini Ultra reached a staggering $152 million. To put this in perspective, the original Transformer model cost just £720 to train back in 2017. We're looking at a cost explosion of over 80,000% in just 6 years. That's not inflation. That's a complete transformation of the economic landscape. Whilst companies wrestle with these financial surprises, something far more troubling is happening to the people using these systems. Recent research from Microsoft and Carnegie Mellon has uncovered what they're calling cognitive offloading. Essentially, our brains are forgetting how to think when AI does the heavy lifting. Here's a real example that should worry you. A programmer with 12 years of experience described how he's become worse at his own craft after adopting AI coding tools. He's now what he calls a human clipboard, just copying error messages to AI instead of developing his own diagnostic skills. When the AI tools go down, he admits he's at a loss on how to diagnose issues the old-fashioned way. This isn't just one person's experience. Studies show that 27.7% of students demonstrated degraded decision-making capabilities after AI adoption. We're not talking about getting rusty at skills they don't use. We're talking about fundamental thinking abilities deteriorating whilst they're still students. The psychological dependency runs even deeper. MIT studied 981 participants and found that higher daily AI usage directly correlated with increased loneliness and problematic use patterns. Among adolescents, 17.14% experienced AI dependence initially, but this jumped to 24.19% after follow-up. That's a 41% increase linked to emotional distress and social anxiety. Perhaps most alarming is what's happening in education. 86% of students now use AI in their studies, with many unable to start assignments without first consulting AI for topic ideas and structure. Teachers report that students struggle to understand AI-generated content without comprehensive explanations. We're creating a generation that can consume AI output, but can't think independently about the underlying concepts. The AI revolution's dirty secret lies in its astronomical failure rates. Let me walk you through some corporate disasters that reveal the gap between AI promises and reality. McDonald spent over $2.4 million on an IBM partnership for AI-powered drive-through systems. The result? Complete disaster. The AI repeatedly malfunctioned at over 100 test locations, with social media videos showing the system adding random items to orders. One customer's order reached 260 chicken McNuggets. McDonald's pulled the plug entirely in June 2024, removing the system from all locations. Zillow's story is even more expensive. Their AI-powered home buying algorithm developed a median error rate of 1.9%, reaching as high as 6.9%. This $242 million disaster forced Zillow to shut down their entire Zillow Offers division and cut 25% of their workforce. That's 2,000 people losing their jobs in a single quarter. Healthcare faces the highest stakes of all. United Health is fighting a massive class action lawsuit alleging their AI system has a 90% error rate, yet continues denying elderly patients medically necessary care. Similar lawsuits against Humana and Cigna reveal AI systems automatically denying insurance claims without physician review, potentially affecting millions of patients. The statistics paint a devastating picture. Gartner reports that 85% of AI projects fail outright, whilst 42% of companies have abandoned most AI initiatives after discovering costs far exceed benefits. The average organization scrapped 46% of AI proof of concepts before reaching production, representing billions in wasted investment. The AI tools you probably use daily, ChatGPT, Claude, Midjourney, GitHub Copilot, have created something unprecedented. Digital dependencies that make users vulnerable to pricing changes, service outages, and platform policy shifts. OpenAI increased ChatGPT Plus from $16 to $18 monthly by the end of 2024, then planning to reach $35 monthly by 2029. That's a 120% price increase over 5 years for millions of users who've integrated ChatGPT into their daily workflows. When a major outage hit ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity simultaneously for over 6 hours last June, businesses worldwide reported complete workflow disruption. Imagine if your entire team couldn't function because a server went down somewhere in Silicon Valley. GitHub Copilot has created what researchers call solution convergence. Programmers using AI assistants produce less diverse solutions for identical problems, suggesting their critical thinking is deteriorating. One senior engineer admitted that after using Copilot, he lost fundamental debugging skills. I've become dependent on AI to solve problems I used to handle myself. Midjourney removed its free tier entirely in April 2023, forcing all users to paid subscriptions ranging from £8 to £96 monthly. The platform operates exclusively through Discord, creating double dependency on both services. Users report waiting to start statuses lasting hours during peak times, with no comparable alternatives available. Here's what's really concerning. One SaaS company discovered £224,000 in monthly unaccounted cloud spend from 23 undocumented AI services used by employees. 70% of enterprise workers haven't told their bosses they're using AI tools, creating shadow IT vulnerabilities and potential compliance violations. The regulatory landscape around AI has exploded into a complex web of compliance requirements that can devastate unprepared organizations. The EU AI Act imposes fines up to £28 million or 7% of global turnover for prohibited AI systems, with standard violations reaching £12 million or 3% of global revenue. Companies report 17% overhead on all AI spending just for compliance with high-risk system requirements, including conformity assessments, technical documentation, and mandatory human oversight. That's nearly £1.05 spent on meeting regulations rather than creating value. Legal costs are mounting through high-profile settlements. Italy's privacy watchdog fined OpenAI £12 million for GDPR violations, whilst Clearview AI paid over £24 million to Netherlands' Data Protection Authority for creating illegal facial recognition databases. Air Canada was ordered to pay damages after their chatbot gave incorrect bereavement fare information. The courts rejected the company's argument that it couldn't be held liable for AI-generated advice. This legal precedent means any business using customer-facing AI assumes liability for its output, regardless of how sophisticated the underlying technology appears. Leading AI researchers are issuing increasingly urgent warnings about where we're heading. Yoshua Bengio, a Turing Award winner, warns of catastrophic outcomes within 5 to 20 years if current AI development continues without adequate safety measures. He expresses 95% confidence that superintelligent AI will arrive within this time frame, stating, We don't have methods to make sure that these systems will not harm people or will not turn against people. Geoffrey Hinton and Stuart Russell have co-authored warnings that, without sufficient caution, we may irreversibly lose control of autonomous AI systems, rendering human intervention ineffective. Their research suggests this could culminate in large-scale loss of life and the marginalization or even extinction of humanity. Over 100 AI professors have signed statements warning of extinction-level risks from AI development, comparing AI risk to pandemics and nuclear war. These aren't fringe voices. These are the people who built the systems we're now depending on daily. Despite companies spending an average of $1.5 million on generative AI initiatives in 2024, less than 30% of AI leaders report their CEOs are happy with the investment returns. This satisfaction gap persists even as worldwide AI spending is expected to reach $515 billion in 2025, a 76.4% increase from 2024. Only 15.8% of business leaders reported revenue increases from AI deployments, whilst 97% of enterprises struggle to demonstrate business value from early AI efforts. The disconnect between spending and results has led to widespread project cancellations, with predictions that over 40% of AI projects will be canceled by the end of 2027 due to escalating costs and unclear business value. 14% of workers have already experienced job displacement due to AI, with 300 million jobs at risk by 2030, according to Goldman Sachs research. 120 million workers need retraining within the next 3 years. Yet historical retraining programs show poor success rates, with many participants remaining underemployed years after job loss. Here's the uncomfortable truth. We're at a critical choice point. The evidence reveals that organizations and individuals can either proactively manage AI dependencies through diversification, skill preservation, and sustainable integration practices, or face escalating costs, capability erosion, and systemic vulnerabilities as AI systems become increasingly central to daily operations. Economic projections show AI spending growing from $223 billion in 2024 to $1.4 trillion by 2030. That's a 35.9% compound annual growth rate that will make AI dependency exponentially more expensive to reverse. Organizations not actively managing these dependencies today face increasingly limited options as market concentration intensifies. Skills atrophy accelerates with each technological generation. Just as GPS navigation eroded wayfinding abilities and calculators diminished mental math skills, AI tools are creating dependencies that may prove irreversible without conscious intervention. Research shows these cognitive effects compound over time, meaning early adopters face the greatest risk of permanent capability loss. The most successful approach involves treating AI as a powerful tool that augments rather than replaces human capabilities, maintaining redundant systems that function without AI assistance, and preserving the critical thinking skills that enable independent problem-solving. The stakes have never been higher, and the window for establishing sustainable AI relationships is rapidly closing as dependency patterns become entrenched and alternatives become prohibitively expensive to implement. Those who understand these hidden costs today will possess significant advantages over competitors and peers who discover them only after they become unavoidable. The choice between AI augmentation and AI dependency will define the next decade of technological progress and human capability preservation. What's your experience with AI dependency? Have you noticed your skills changing as you rely more heavily on these tools? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how this is playing out in your industry or personal experience. If you found this investigation useful and want to stay ahead of the technological curve rather than getting swept away by it, consider subscribing. We dive deep into the real stories behind the tech headlines, uncovering the costs and consequences that others prefer to keep hidden.